What's going on, everyone? Hunt with the Rebel Outdoors, and today we're going to be talking about the Stan Onyx click. So I've been shooting bows for a long time, and I've been using an index release forever, and last year as I started to get more and more into archery, I wanted to change things up, so I decided to try a thumb button. Well, of course, thumb buttons are all the new fad nowadays. There's nothing wrong with a good index release, and the one that I had was certainly good. However, I went to a local pro shop and decided to try out a whole bunch, see what felt good. So in going from an index to a thumb button, I started to develop severe target panic. I will say I had a little bit originally, but switching to a thumb button made it a whole lot worse. So one of the releases I ended up trying out was this Stan Onyx C. And my reason for getting that was very simple. What's in the name? A click. Now the nice thing with this release being a click, and Stan makes a whole bunch of different, they make hinge styles that have a click in it. They have a thumb button just like this without a click, so if you're not one of those people, you know, that option's out there. However, this thing does have a ton of different features that we'll get into. And the click I wanted to have to really help me go through my shot process, and it is taking a long time for me to finally figure out a good method to where every time I'm hitting that click consecutively and pulling through my shot properly. So now I am no longer a terminal trigger puncher. So when you purchase this release, you're going to get a couple of different items in the box. Of course, you're going to get the release itself. You will get a couple of different barrels, both a skinny and a thicker one. You will get 2 different arm lengths, and you will get a couple different options for different, fingers to fit your release better to your hand. Now this little attachment is the 4-finger one, so you can kind of get an idea of what that would look like. And on it, I just have the 3-finger. And then if you just want to run a 2-finger, you can take this piece completely off and just run it like that. The one thing that was definitely a selling point for this was once you have this thing locked, it has a little locking latch on it. So when you put it on your D-loop, you can safely leave it there, like if you hang this in a tree stand or a ground blind or whatever. So on the back, you have this little screw here, and that will allow you to adjust this kind of to fit your hand profile better. I found the best way to get this release set up comfortably for me was to utilize a shot trainer. One really cool feature with this release is normally they have another little screw here that you take out and put in this hole here, and basically that allows this release to turn into a shot trainer. And basically what I mean by that is once that screw is in, you can pull the trigger and it will not fire. So you can be at full draw and practice working through that click. On this release, you can see it does have a couple of different screws, so you can adjust the barrel for different directions here, as well as being able to turn the barrel and of course move that in and out as well. Now of course I mentioned this thing does have a click, and the click is adjustable. So you have 2 different screws. This one up here is what does to the click, so the travel to the click. And then you have this little screw in the back that is the tension. So the more this is screwed in, the harder this will be to pull back. And same thing here, the more this is screwed in, the more distance you will have to the click. So for me, kind of getting used to this, I would have this travel to the click screwed out so it is pretty quick to the click. And then the tension kind of lightly so I could find that sweet spot and then kind of, tweak it in or out, whatever need be, till I get that properly set for me. Now one thing I have found that has really helped me work through the target panic is before, when I was holding this release, I would use my thumb like this to press in and activate the release like that. This little lever on the back is what you use to lock that release in or activate it. And one thing that I have found is by putting the barrel on the middle of my thumb and by pulling through the shot, so I'm pulling as you should be, that also has not helped my form get better, but has helped me to get to the click just about every time. It's one thing when I was having severe target panic, having it right here, I would just punch the trigger You know, not obviously that bad, but pretty close. You really notice when you have that shot trainer in, when you're at full draw under tension, your whole body, if you start having trigger panic or target panic, will, you know, kind of shudder, which is like the same thing if you're shooting rifle, handguns, things like that. You anticipate that recoil. So this release does retail for about $300, $325, depending on where you find it, US dollars. So it's definitely not cheap, but for a thumb button, I think it's worth the money. Now, of course, buying this release is just not going to fix any kind of target panic. That's going to be something you'll have to work for. Joel Turner has a ton of different things that has helped me with that, as well as other people that I know. However, this release, with knowing all those different things, has definitely helped me overcome my target panic. And this has just been like within the last month and a half, I would say. I really won't know until I get out to tack and start doing those 100, 125 yard long shots if that's really cured. Another thing that is nice about fitting this to your hand is they make this release in different sizes. So I think they have like a small, medium, large, and extra large. This is a large. I usually kind of figure that off of like my glove size that I wear. So this does fit very well. I want to real quick talk you guys through my shot process with this thing. And that has really kind of helped, you know, focus in on the target, slow things down. And again, helped with my what I thought was incurable target panic. It's for my military guys, you might get a crack out of this, but as I focus in, I will slow as I'm pulling through, and as soon as I hit that click, in my head I say target as I'm pulling through that release, so target, and then that goes through, and that's not necessarily punching the trigger, because you're supposed to pull through, and again, it's a slow process. It's not necessarily like target and shoot, so that's just kind of a word that I use once everything's good, I'm feeling good about the shot, I'm ready to take it, so that is my final say before that arrow goes down range. One thing that is kind of neat too is, let's say you're drawing on a deer, you get to that click, and then the deer does a turn, or just takes off or whatever, and you have to reset. You can do that, so when you pull through the shot again, you'll hear that click once you've retensioned or reactivated this lever down here. So far, just here shooting around the house, it's definitely worked out pretty well. I will leave a link to this release and all the different Stan products in the description down below. If you want to see more hunting content, be sure to get subscribed to the channel. We have a ton of new stuff coming out this year with the property development, as well as hopefully some out west hunts. Like is always appreciated, and until then, we will catch you guys in the next one.